Hi, this is Small Archangel, and today I'm playing Skyrim, which is one of my favourite games ever. I've been a fan of the Elder Scrolls series since Morrowind. I know some fans can claim to go a lot further back than that, but Morrowind was really when I discovered the open world RPG genre and fell in love with it. And I've wasted countless hours of my life in Tamriel as a whole, and I calculate more in Skyrim than in Oblivion, Cyrodiil and Morrowind put together. So Skyrim a firm favourite overall so far. And one of the ways in which that has continued to be true, even though Skyrim came out 3 years ago today, is mods. I've always loved mods and modding games, and in spite of the risks it involves, I always do it. You have to learn how to deal with them really, a little bit, and yes, we all screw it up from time to time, but they really can add to your gameplay. They can iron out those little tweaks that you think that should have never been done like that should have been improved, things can look better, all of those things, and so mods can really add to a game, and more than anything else, they increase its playability and its life, because they can keep a game fresh, keep it looking up to date. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to show you a few of my favourite mods. I have a mod list as long as my arm. I couldn't possibly show you all of them, and I can't even remember some of them. There's that many. It's amazing my game still runs, it really is. So I'm going to show you a few of my mods, the favourite ones that I really wouldn't want to be without anymore. Okay, so just load up my save and let's go. So probably every Skyrim gamer can remember that first journey they took from Helgen when they'd escaped for the first time and went out into the world and took that journey down to Riverwood, or alternatively just ran off to the side saying Yabu sucks to the gaming mechanics, which let's face it, we've done a bit of that too. But if you remember the visuals that we had back then, I like to think that I've improved on that with the help of some very talented modders. Of course, this is by no means my own work. However, there is a lot that you can do to really improve the way that your game looks. Okay, so if you remember the vanilla Skyrim visuals, the world, I loved it. I have to say, I was very impressed, but the world had a way of looking really quite flat, and the colours were a little washed out. As soon as Bethesda released their high-res texture pack, their HD textures, I was straight on that, and as long as you've got the rig to cope with it, actually, they did improve things really a lot. But there is always some way that you can improve things even further, and as I say that, I like to think that I've managed to do that. You'll see in the description I've mentioned the Nexus, which is actually a modding hub for an awful lot of games, all of the Elder Scrolls ones and the Fallout series too. So it's a really good place to check out if you have any of the really big game titles that are out there, because there might be a lot of mods available, particularly if the game's been around for a while. There's a lot of mods available for Skyrim now. It's been out for 3 years and there's so many mods I couldn't even start. But we will start with a few of, as I say, my favourites. And first, the visuals. So I started really with ENB. There's a lot of ENBs on the market, so to speak. Of course, they don't actually cost anything, but these post-processing packages can really make a lot of difference to the way Skyrim looks and feels atmospherically. They're all very different, so really you have to try a few on and see how they suit you. The one I'm using here is called the Wilds, which I like the colours. It's not too washed out, as I say. Some do wash things out quite a bit. And I'm using the extra DOF version because I just love my depth of field. As we know, anybody who's played Skyrim knows, we do have a bit of an issue with very blurry, weird kind of flats pack tree structures and horrible logs going on in the background. Some of the waterfalls are particularly bad for that, and DOF really helps to smooth that over and make things look better. So you've got to love your DOF, I think. Okay, it just makes things look that bit more three-dimensional too, doesn't it? So as you can see on a sunny day here, I couldn't have planned it better. We have some really quite good visuals, nice warm sort of feeling to the world, in spite of the fact that it's not all that warm really at all. So that's my ENB. In addition, I am using Skyrim Flora Overhaul, which is a pretty big mod. Again, make sure you've got a beefy rig before you use something like that, because Skyrim Flora Overhaul uses a lot, changes a lot of the world space. So you can see, again, if you can compare in your mind to vanilla Skyrim Flora and Foliage, we've got a lot more diversity here. There are different flavours available of Skyrim Flora Overhaul. There's one that turns the whole of Skyrim into summer, or more summery sort of textures with more grass and things like that for people who miss Cyrodiil, perhaps, I don't know. But I elected to go for one that gave a more vanilla feel, but with greater variety. So you can see there's much thicker foliage. There's a light version as well for anyone who doesn't want to hammer their CPU and GPU that much. But I just love all this foliage. It's wonderful. Of course, it looks better in-game because I will have had to compress this video. So you also get much more variety of plant generally. Some of the trees are altered too. And then you'll find some of the harvestable plants in-game look rather better as well. They've all been redone. See, I love those sun rays. It's lovely. Really get the feel of the sun on your face. Okay, so next, not unconnected, we have Climate of Tamriel, which I use in conjunction with his ENB. You have to make sure COT or Climates of Tamriel is compatible with your ENB, otherwise some weird stuff can happen. With textures and lighting and all sorts of things. So Climates of Tamriel, basically what that does is it gives a slightly different microclimate to each of the holds in the game. I forget which. Geography is not my strong suit in real life, never mind in games, but each of the climates, each of the areas has a slightly different microclimate. So for example, in the tundra region around Whiterun, it rains more, and around Markarth you get more mists and fogs. There's some lovely depth of field there. I'm sorry, I still love the scenery here. Yes, so Climates of Tamriel, again, adds to the immersion. I believe it also changes the skybox to a much nicer looking and greater variety too. And yeah, the weather is so much more believable. The storms are more epic, and yeah, it really adds to the game. So you get far more of an atmosphere when you go to different places. And the sunsets, you get some superb sunsets. I would really recommend that a great deal. Okay. Also for lighting, I use RLO, or Realistic Lighting Overhaul. Again, with all these mods, you really need to check compatibility with the other big mods, just in case you get some really strange stuff going on. I know for a fact, if I take any of my mods out, the whole lot just collapses like a house of cards. I literally can't take them out because I would have to start the game all over again. Things go weird, I get graphic weird glitches and things, and it just crashes. So yeah, you have to be very careful. Responsible modding, definitely the order of the day. So Realistic Lighting Overhaul does what it says on the tin. It provides realistic lighting inside and outside. Oh, and I forgot to say, Climates of Tamriel, yeah, also some lighting packages available for interiors. So interiors look a lot nicer too. We'll go into an interior when we get to Riverwood, and hopefully I'll show you some of the lighting that changes. But dungeons with Realistic Lighting Overhaul, dungeons look rather nicer too. Yeah, warmer or colder or more sinister, and certainly a lot darker, which is a whole lot more atmospheric, as you can probably imagine. There's one more thing, excuse my frog in my throat, there's one more thing that I was going to mention before going on to the next batch of mods, and that is here. We remember these guys, don't we? that is water. Okay, that's actually the name of the mod, not just the substance H2O. Water is one of the biggest water mods out there, and basically it just overhauls the water, all water, flowing water, still water, splashing water, even wet rocks. You can see some wet rocks down in the middle of the river there, and if we just look at the waterfall here, you'll see hopefully that it looks rather more realistic than it was when you first came here in vanilla Skyrim. See the spume and the spray. And water Redux even sorts out water in the static vessels like troughs, water troughs and blacksmiths, because that looked so crappy to start with, to be absolutely honest. So the Guardian Stone is the start point of every character's game. Which one were you? I've been all three, depending on my characters. So, next then, character customization. One of my favourites. Okay, so this is just one of my characters, but I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview of some of the character mods that are available out there as well. Just for anybody who's not into modding or hasn't tried modding, or anyone who's looking into modding. There are several ways in which I have modded this character. Now again, it very much has to be to the individual's taste, and you'll see an awful lot of stuff out there. You know, you might not want to show that much flesh, you might want to have something a bit more lore friendly, whatever. But yeah, the first thing that catches your eye really is her armour. Now I actually went for this armour. Obviously I'm female, you know, I'm not into dressing like that in real life. Oddly enough, it's far too cold here. It's far too cold in Skyrim, but yeah, she's a Valkyrie. Okay, I'm being very vaguely lore friendly here. She's a Valkyrie, that's my take on it. She's a paladin type. She doesn't feel a cold because she's come to, you know, she lives in Sovngarde or whatever. Anyway, whatever your take on it, there she is in this armour. I chose this armour because it's almost identical to a modded armour that my character used in Oblivion, virtually to the detail, and so I thought for some continuity I'd have to use it on the same character again. So I like a bit of continuity as much as I can between characters in the games as well. So that's her that's her armour, which is called Silverlight. There's a lot of different kinds of the Silverlight Armour. There's a couple of different recolours. You can get it for different body types. More on that in a second. But I've gone for this version, which actually, apart from my doff, which is getting right in the way, there we go. You can see it's actually got some, well, you probably can't actually, but it's actually got some really nice textures on it. Anyway, onwards. Damn that compression. So the next thing really is body type. Now, as any Skyrim gamer probably knows, the vanilla body types were, well, I'm not sure that, yeah, I'm not sure how to put it really. The underwear was interesting, and yeah, the body shape, perhaps again, not to everyone's taste. If you want to have a representative in a game like this, where you're going to be epic and save the world, really, having a good body is, you know, is a good start. This is UNP, which I actually prefer. I think we've got CBBE, Caliente's body, is the favourite on the Nexus, and I can entirely understand why. I actually use it for my Khajiit model because it makes a wonderful cat's body, if you ask me. Very, very sort of small and lithe and good for a Khajiit, but for a human body I like something to be a little bit more realistic. There's not much to this girl, obviously, but the body doesn't look quite so plastic somehow. Anyway, it's got a slightly more realistic proportion around the waist. CBBE goes in at the middle rather more and out of the hips rather more, so I went for something a little bit more moderate perhaps. Again, it's all down to taste. Then the hair is probably the next thing that you notice. Now, there are so many hair mods on the Nexus, it's incredible, but this one is one of the ones that's a little bit different because it's got physics. Now, I love my physics mods, they're superb. If you ask me, it's the future of gaming. All games should have it. and this is my favourite hair physics mod. It's, again, not to everyone's taste. Taste is everything. And other hair physics mods are available. Ones that don't move quite so much as this one does, but I actually like the wild movement. My own hair is not dissimilar to this, and so I know how it behaves. I know if I do anything, it's in my face. And so, you know, if I was doing this in real life, again, to be absolutely realistic, I'd probably tie it back. I'd probably get killed because it would be in my face, wouldn't be able to see what I was doing. Again, this isn't real life, folks. This is a game which is wonderful, isn't it? You've got to love it. Escape from reality. So we've got this hair here, which is called, now is it Merida? I have a feeling it's pronounced Merida. It's based on the hair from the film Brave, as you can probably tell, although here it is in blonde. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. No matter what my character does, her hair goes right with her, and it's great. So as I say, Merida hair, other hairs are definitely available. Okay, anything else? Well, there's a couple of other things you probably can't see from here. You can only appreciate it in close-up, but she has got customized eyes as well. You can get replacer and non-replacer textures. I've also used excuse me, something called race menu to fine-tune her facial features to my liking. Again, the hair rather gets in the way, and from a distance you can't see anyway. One other thing which you can't see at the moment, she hasn't got it equipped for some reason, where are you, is her sword, which is one that's fit for a Valkyrie. There it is. It's called Dovakhiin, and it's actually created by one of my favourite modders, actually, FavoredSoul, who is a very talented modder, makes wonderful meshes and beautiful textures. And there's a real random variety of objects that he's made in game, from weapons to clothing to accessories. And actually her necklace, my character's necklace, which is that glowing thing right there, it glows and it cycles through colours, which I love as well, is actually Arwen's Even Star, which is really, really beautiful, and that's very, very well done as well. So my Valkyrie character seemed to think that I thought that was really appropriate for her. So I've got many, many more character customization mods than that, but a representative sample is quite sufficient. Okay, now I'm a third person kind of girl, as you've probably guessed, and so I prefer to do everything in the third person. Next, mounts. How did you guess? Okay, this is my horse. Hello, horse. This is a horse model based on, well, obviously a more slender version, and the mod is Skyrim Horse Renewal. And it's an ironic truth that in Oblivion I downloaded and used a Clydesdale model horse because the vanilla horses were normal slim horses, and in Skyrim I have done the exact opposite. I have chosen a horse which has a slimmer build just to be different and perverse, I suspect. But I also love, as you've probably noticed, the physics on the horse's tail and forelock as well. Not the mane, that's more like the vanilla, but the forelock and the tail have got hair physics just like my character. Now I have retextured this horse as well. She's watching me walk around her, and again, because it's a white horse, you can't see the texture so very well, but if we ride into some shade you'll probably see it rather better. You'll also see the physics on the tail and my character's own hair as we ride along. Now the other thing I love about this horse mod is that the modder has included in Skyrim Horse Renewal better, in my opinion, riding animations. So the animations changed slightly, and you can see we've got some riding animations and idle animations in there as well. My character's actually riding bareback, and because of that she's hovering ever so slightly above the horse. If you buy one of the ones that has a saddle, that obviously isn't an issue. I choose to ignore it, and you can see how she sways from side to side in the saddle as well. So I like that. I think it's really rather nice. The retexture I've used on the horse is actually by someone who is not on the mod Nexus. Shock horror. She's about the only person who's not, used to be an extremely talented modder by the name of Alien Sloth, who was responsible for the first mod I ever downloaded for Oblivion, which was her horse retextures, which needed to be done in Oblivion far more than anything has ever needed to be done in Skywind. That's not out yet. In Skyrim. Okay, I hear wolves. We're about to get attacked, naturally. Alright, so there we go. There's my horse. I'll just show you the faster motion. Now I use a control stick, which is great for things like panning shots and being able to control the speed of your horse and yourself. We can do trotting, so you can see the animation, and a galloping, and a full-on sprint. Not that there's really room to do that before we get to Riverwood. Managed to outrun the wolves anyway. Okay, so here we are in Riverwood. Now, much as I love my horses, I'm going to leave the GG here, and I'm just going to show you an interior so you get the feel of what the combination of climates of Tamriel, interiors, warm is the option I chose, plus realistic lighting overhaul does for the inside of the Riverwood Trader. And there we go. So you get the most of that wonderful fire and candle light.
It means so much to us to have the claw back where it belongs. Thank you.
There's probably a mod to stop them from saying these really annoying things, but there you go.
Lucan, I was thinking we should have a grand sale. Lower the prices by half, maybe get some jugglers. We could attract lots of new customers.
She does talk nonsense.
A sale?
Right, let's leave.
That's
So the interiors. All of the domestic interiors, the inns and things look like that with a warm. I think there's a cool option as well, and you can choose, with dungeons you can choose darker or less dark. The dark ones really are dark though, so makes life very, very interesting when you're in a dungeon. Anyway, we'll see that in a bit, because we're going to trek up to Bleak Falls Burrow now, just to continue that first epic journey. Okay, now, next up in our mods list, we've done mounts. Oh no, there's a mount we have not done. How could I possibly forget? Okay, so, I don't use my horse very much, and there's a reason for that. I said that my character was a Valkyrie, and I wasn't kidding. That is not the spell I was looking for. Please bear with me. My spells have a slightly odd way of resetting themselves. That is the one I meant. This mod is one of my favourites. And it's actually a mod of a mod. But to start off the mod is Anton's animated dragon wings, which are pretty cool. And you can make them disappear or come back any time you like with a simple spell, as you just saw me do there, and they're particularly appropriate for my Valkyrie character. However, I have attached to them a feathered texture, which is called simply that on the Nexus. A different modder has made this feathered texture for the animated dragon wings, which looks rather more angelic. Now they are available in black and in white. And in case you want to know, we can, in point of fact, fly with these wings, but only with the use of another mod. Yes, I told you I had lots. Which is called animated, no, this is animated dragon wings. The flying mod is called flying mod. Does exactly what it says on the tin. There we go. And you equip that and use it like a shout. And the animated dragon wings are designed to be used in conjunction with the flying mod, which was written by Burrow, I think is how the name is pronounced. who's been working on the flying mod for years now, and it's pretty good. So the animations that you're seeing here are a mixture of those by Burrow and those by Anton, who did the wings. Burrow did the animations for the actual character. So with the use of the usual motion controls, we can fly anywhere we like, including round in a circle like this. There's no diving animation, but apart from that, it's pretty cool, and you can even do some pretty epic jumps as well. Landing is fairly fun. And occasionally the wings decide they're not going to fold straight away, but you can actually, there's a glide feature too. Oh, except that she refused to jump just then. There we are. Okay, so if you jump off a mountain, for example, you can glide all the way down and not hurt yourself, which is really rather cool as well. So there you go. Animated dragon wings and feathered retexture, which also has a different normal map as well. I don't know if you can see, but it's their feathered texture as well. Plus Burrow flying mod equals flying in Skyrim, yay! Which is great. The only thing to be careful of is if you go too far too fast, you may CTD. Again, a real bruiser. A lot of the mods I'm showing do use a lot of juice. My game used to run, well, like the proverbial off the proverbial. No longer, I fear. I have blasted it to the point where I'm lucky it runs as well as it does. Okay, so now we're on to the last lot of mods. And that is Immersion. Now, I'm very into Immersion. And as a result of that, I use various mods which do things like this. So this is the animations mod, which adds various animations to your character, from looting corpses that you just killed, like that, to get up, collecting harvestables, to looting chests, opening doors, various other things that I can't remember all of. When you've been using it for a while, you start just to take it a bit for granted that your character does this when they never did it before. So we'll make our way up to Bleak Falls Burrow, and if I get any opportunities to show off any of my immersion mods, I will do so. An opportunity to show one of the other ones. Better Animations, by the way, is the one that adds extra animations onto your character. The one that you may be able to see now, possibly, hello troll, is Footprints. There we go. Some epic jumping there. I'm leaving footprints, and so will this troll if I drag him across the snow. Come on, demonstrate. There we go. He leaves his footprints too. Some people don't like kill moves. I think they're fantastic. Okay, so footprints. You too can leave footprints all over Skyrim with scatter effects, particle effects. It's fantastic. With the mod, footprints. Marvellous. Okay, so that's footprints. Now, another mod that I run for immersion's sake is wet and cold. Now, this is a huge mod on the Nexus. People love it. Just for a bit of immersion, I'm going to apply my cloak. Now, one of the things that wet and cold can do is, again, you probably can't see it, apply snow decals to the to NPCs, to the PC, to anyone at all. When snow falls, the snow adheres to you and your equipment. Now, for some reason, it's not adhering to her, so it's bugging out slightly, but her cloak does have some snow attached to it. does usually work. It even attaches itself to your hair. So what with that and the footprints, that's pretty cool. You can also, again, you probably can't see it, but you can see the breath of PC and NPCs and horses and everything else puffing in the wind. Wet and cold also, as the name suggests, means that when you get wet, you drip, and so you take a dip, or if it's raining, your character will drop droplets on the ground. And that's in first person or third person mode, so it doesn't matter which of those versions you prefer, just in case you're a fan of first person mode.
Picked a bad time to get lost, friend.
See, this is why I don't do it, because I'm just not used to it. These animations work in the third person too. Well, they usually do. Let's try that again, folks. I've just realised why they're not. One moment, I'll just dispatch this annoying marauder.
It's...
Just a scratch. You've got to love Skyrim's physics, you really have. I mean, only in Skyrim could you, or Oblivion, could you find stuff just randomly hanging in midair. Oh, now I've got snow decals. Okay. So you get to see some of the delightful little glitches that we get when modding. Don't try this at home, kids. Okay, so the other thing I was going to show you was another of my very, very favourite immersion mods. Look, no feet. Look, feet. You can even see my hair. I love it. And if you do that, warning, it's not for people who get motion sickness too easily. There's a lot of head bobbing. This is called real first person view, and as it suggests, there are my feet, there's my hands. The camera is literally placed into the head of the character, so I can see my wings, I can see my own hair, my own necklace, everything, pretty much everything, which means that those first person animals I was talking about also play in, third person animals also play in first person view. So if you're a real first person user and you love your animations and you love your immersion, this is probably the one for you. Again, there's more than one of these mods out there as well available, so but right now I'm going to stick to third person, partly because it's what I do, and partly because I cannot control her very well in first person. Certainly not with that mod. I love it, but I use it in moderation, and I don't want to make anyone feel sick when they're watching this video, so we're just going to stick for the moment in good old third person view, which is my favourite anyway. Now there are some mods on the Nexus for HDT or physics enabled cloaks too. I don't have any of those, but I might just have to give one of them a try, although I am pretty much testing my rig to the max already. Perhaps a fireball would be more appropriate. If I can fire straight. I don't normally get quite this much lag. Thrap's taking its share. You can see how the wings react when I fight too. My character's nearly level 60, so she's not to be messed with, really. I've taken away the crosshair, which means that shooting is far more challenging. No, it's not enough. Not until you die, I'm afraid. Mercy just doesn't exist. Because if it does, well, they just heal a bit and then they come after you again. I've tried that one. Okay, so get out of this snow and into the barrows. So this is Climates of Tamriel snow, which actually gives you a little bit of snow blindness as well. Again, any realism junkies out there should love that one. And there's the door opening animation as well. Okay, so being the OCD that I am, I'm going to take off my cloak. We don't need a cloak indoors, it's not snowing in here. Again, bit of realistic lighting overhaul at work in here, along with the ENB and Climates of Tamriel interiors. I'd actually forgotten that mod altogether. I have a mod which puts back corpse physics, because by default it's just not there. And so there's a mod which I think is just called corpse physics, which puts back the physics into corpses so that a la Oblivion you can just pick up bits of them and pose them again, just in case you're into that kind of thing. It doesn't work quite so well as it did then, but again it adds some immersion. You're so stupid. There we go. So, search skeever. Now what would I want with a skeever? But this chest, on the other hand. Oh, the unlocking animation. I knew I forgot one. So when you unlock, your character actually does a shifty little look around before they unlock, which is quite cool as well, and then they loot the chest. So, lots and lots of fun to be had. So, I hope you enjoyed my video. I certainly enjoyed doing it. I've meant to do it for quite some time. I hope it's not too long. And I hope it made sense. And I hope, even if you think, what on earth is she walking around Skyrim looking like that for, you nonetheless feel inspired to go and do a mod hunt and, you know, do something more to your taste. In the meantime, my character's gonna get a bit of shut-eye, courtesy of another sleep mod, which doesn't work on these bedrolls. That's very unfortunate, folks. You can get bedrolls which will allow you to sleep with sleep animations, which is excellent. However, doesn't appear to work on these. It does work on most placed beds and bedrolls in the world space, but not all of them, it would seem. In which case, I will simply have to content myself with Dovakhiin's Relax, which is another fantastic mod that allows you to have a little immersion in your idle moments. So, as I say, I hope you've enjoyed my little mod demonstration. There's certainly mods I wouldn't want to play my game without. They keep me here, fighting, adventuring, and living in the land of Skyrim. So, till next time, folks, happy birthday, Skyrim, and keep gaming and responsible modding, folks. Bye-bye.